I know there's people in this room that are making $1 million, right? Anybody? I've been through everything when it comes to this business. All right, I got in business in 2002. I'm 20 years old. It took me 8 months to sell a house. Just like everybody, it's hard to get started, okay? But I grew up poor. My dad owned a roofing business in Alabama. Like, I did not want to live like that ever again. But then what happened? I had a gold Hummer. I make $1 million by the time I'm 22. You can learn how to play the game in 5 minutes, but it takes you a good 10, 15, 20 years to actually learn how to and master the business. What you learn is literally going to get you from here to here. And you hit a brick wall and you think, oh, why isn't this working? It's because now what do you have to do? Now you have to, thousands of conversations are the only thing between you and $1 million. With zero social media, zero prospecting, zero anything except for one thing. What's that?
What was one of the lessons that you learned? Maybe the biggest mistake you made when you made your first $1 million?
Like back when I lost it all?
Do it.
Do you have special hooks that you do? What does the content look like?
Too much to get into. I'll give you the best advice on it. Most agents are sending out.
In all the years you've been doing this, what's your most memorable aha moment that just changed your career?
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Ricky Carruth!
Ricky Carruth from Gulf Shores, Alabama. I introduce you, he's #1, not top 4. He's the man of the real estate industry.
Hey, what's up? I hope you're doing super well. I hope you're actually out there helping a lot of people buy and sell real estate, and I hope you get a lot of value out of my channel here and get a lot of tips and tricks and motivation and all that good stuff. Today, I want to share with you one of my recent keynotes. This was at an event in Vegas, BAM Mania. It was the Broke Agent Media's first event. It was actually really good, especially for their first event. So when they do another one, I suggest you guys make it out wherever it is because it was a lot of value. But this was the talk. This was a pivotal talk for me because I didn't prepare anything. I just went on stage and just went for it. And a question came to my mind for the audience about halfway through. And I've talked about this question on recent podcasts. You've probably heard me talk about it. Well, this is the moment that it actually happened. I talk about being on a stage in Vegas with 500 agents and asking this question. Well, this is the talk that I actually did. So you're about to see this thing unfold in real time organically. But the response from the audience was a real moment for me. And it made me realize something that I never really realized before. And that's that I don't believe deep down that agents really want to be agents. And I think that they want to do other things with their life. And so it brings the question of why not use that as motivation to succeed as quickly as possible instead of stretching out your success over the course of decades. You should be doing everything you can do to succeed as quickly as you can in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years, right? It's not going to happen overnight, but you can make it happen quicker than 2 or 3 decades. I promise you. And that's if you focus, you've got the right business model, you're dedicated, you're committed, and you're just going to make it happen no matter what. That's what it takes. That's how I did it. But if you would take that motivation, succeed quickly in the next 5 to 10 years so that at that point you hit your goals and you can go do the things that you actually want to do with your life. So anyway, I hope you get a lot out of this talk. I appreciate you so much. Let's get right into it and let me know what you think in the comments.
Now, do y'all not look at me and think, if he made $1 million a year as a real estate agent, I know not only anybody can do it, but I can do it, right? I'm telling you right now, anybody can do it. So what I want to do, what I got, 21 minutes? I just want to do straight Q&A, right? So I want to start out just giving you a little background if you don't know who I am, and then I want to take some questions because I feel like I can't even get warmed up in 25 minutes. I couldn't even get a point across in 25 minutes. I could talk for 3 hours. So I feel like the best value is what's going on in your business? Where are you stuck? Where can I help you enhance your business? All right? So think about your most burning question where you're getting stuck in your business and get ready to do this. Okay? Okay. If you don't know me, now you know me. I've been through everything when it comes to this business. All right, I got in business in 2002. I'm 20 years old. It took me 8 months to sell a house. It was just like everybody. It's hard to get started, okay? But then what happened? Market exploded. I make $1 million by the time I'm 22. I'm single. I got a Cadillac CTS-V. I had a gold Hummer. A gold. All right? This is real. I had not one house, but 2 houses, right? I was like, I'm a real estate mogul. I'm done with life. This is how business is done. I start flipping houses, and then boom, the market crashes. I lose everything. I'm gonna give you the Cliff Notes version. Now I go from mogul, real estate mogul, to completely broke, bankrupt. Somebody gave me their car to live in for 2 years. Why don't you go stay with your mommy and dad? Well, mom moved to Tennessee, and dad was living in a camper. Like, everybody was hurting back then. So I'm sleeping on people's couches, eating out of my friends' refrigerators. And in 2008, I got laid off from the oil rig because I was roofing houses, working oil rigs, serving tables. I got laid off. I got back in real estate in 2008, and I said, you know what? I'm going to be the #1 agent in my market. And from 2008 to 2014, that's all I dedicated myself to. And by 2014, I was the #1 agent in my MLS for 8 years in a row after that as a single agent. Now, why did I say I want to be the #1 agent? Anybody want to be the #1 agent in your MLS? You better have a chip on your shoulder so big that I grew up poor. My dad owned a roofing business in Alabama. Like, I did not want to live like that ever again. I had a chip on my shoulder. I made it, I lost it. I had a chip on my shoulder. Do you got a chip on your shoulder? You better, if you want to get to the tippity top. Now, I can explain the business in 5 minutes. It's just like poker. You can learn how to play the game in 5 minutes. But it takes you a good 10, 15, 20 years to actually learn how to and master the business. It's so simple when you look at it. But to actually execute on it at the highest levels, consistency, that takes a lifetime to master. A lot of you guys have huge aspirations and you're frustrated. Well, I'm doing all the stuff that I've been taught to do. Well, see, we learn a little bit. I'm gonna drop some for you. We learn a little bit, and we feel like that little bit that we learned was such a breakthrough moment that it's gonna get us to the top. We feel like we know it all. No. What you learned is literally gonna get you from here to here, right? And you still got all this to go. So when you go from here to here and you hit a brick wall and you think, oh, why isn't this working? It's because what you learned wasn't going to get you to the top. Now what do you have to do, right? You plateaued. Now what do you have to do? Now you have to learn something new. And what happens is we go back and we revert back to, well, this got us here. It's got to be able to get us up there if we keep doing it harder. This was my problem. This is why it took me so long to get here. I'm telling you what I lived through. This is not theory. I'm going to break the business down 5 minutes or less, okay? Things I wish that somebody would have told me a long time ago would have really helped me out, right? Number 1, the only thing between you, right? I know there's people in this room that are making $1 million, right? Anybody? Okay, a couple. Okay. When I say $1 million, for you, I'm talking about 3 million. When I say $1 million, Maybe your goal is 200,000. Maybe it's $500,000. Maybe it's 2 million. Maybe it's 1.5 million. When I say a million, that's just whatever your goal is, okay? The only thing between you and $1 million are thousands, as a real estate agent, thousands of one-on-one conversations with people in your market. I don't care how you have them. Do YouTube, do Zillow, do postcards, do cold calling, do door knock. I don't care how you have these conversations. But you got to understand what I'm saying. Thousands of conversations are the only thing between you and $1 million. Now, you can drag those thousands of conversations out over the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years and never get there, which is what most agents do. Why? Because they're avoiding the conversations. What can I do besides talk to somebody? The entire job and premise of my career is to talk to people that I do and don't know and help them buy real estate, but I just don't want to do that. Fine. I don't care what you do. I'm just telling you what you got to do if you want to make it to the top. You don't have to go to the top. Not everybody wants to be at the top. But if you do, the only thing between you and that is thousands of one-on-one conversations with people in your market. Okay? The next thing. And Luke said, Luke said, hey, business is unlimited. It's abundant for everybody. Okay? It is. I'm going to skip over that for a second, though, because I want to focus on a much more important point. We've been programmed to believe that the only way to get listings is to call a property owner and say, hey, Mr. Property Owner, would you consider selling your house today? Right? This is what we've been programmed to think. Or, I have a buyer. You know, you don't know me, I don't know you, but will you sell your house so I can make some money? That's how we're coming across. And the problem with it is that we're good people, right? Real estate agents are the most resilient people on the planet. We've been through everything. 2008, NARC changes, whatever. AI is going to take us over. We're still here. You guys took off work to come here and spent money in the worst year. This is worse than 2008. You guys are here like in Vegas. What? It's not a recession. Not like it's worse than 2008. Give yourself a hand. You guys are the most resilient people on the planet. You've been through everything and you're still standing. You don't have to call sellers, property owners, and say, hey, would you consider selling your house? No. Why not call them and offer them a little value? Hey, I see you're in a 3-bedroom. I got a really nice 4-bedroom right over here. If you need a 4-bedroom, I got a really nice one. I'd love to show you. Right? Oh, you're a real estate agent? I'm not selling my house. Great! That's not what I don't care if you sell your house. I'm just calling to see if you need another bedroom. I'm calling to see if you need a nicer house, a newer house, one with a better view, one with a pool, one that's not 2 stories, one that is 2 stories, whatever. Offer them something better than what they got and lead with value instead of trying to take a listing, right? They don't want to buy that house you're calling about. But because you offered them something, now they're like, let me open up to this person and tell them everything I want to do so that they can help me do it. And now we're starting the relationship off on the right foot. Now, I'm explaining the business in 5 minutes, right? The only thing between you and $1 million a year are thousands of one-on-one conversations with people in your market. Let's cram those thousands of conversations into a 3 to 5 year period, get it over with, get to the $1 million so we can get on with bigger and better things in our life. Anybody want to sell real estate forever? Not a single hand went up. We're at a real estate agent conference. And y'all don't even want to sell real estate. What are we doing here? My point is, I just made a strong point. We don't want to do this forever. So what are we waiting on to build our business? Let's build our empire now, get it behind us so we can move on to the things that we actually want to do with our life. Now, the entire goal of your career is you need to think of your database like a retirement plan. Okay, you know how people save up for retirement, they save up money to where one day they don't have to work and they can live off the money, right? When you prospect, okay, you're saving up relationships for that rainy day that you don't have to prospect anymore and you can live off of the relationships the same way you live off your money when you retire. 2017 was the first year I made $1 million as an agent. It was the first year I never made a single cold call again, never prospected, never did anything at all. And I made $1 million every year for the next 4 years. I did it 5 years in a row with zero social media, zero prospecting, zero anything except for one thing. Anybody know what it is? Thanks, Mom. Weekly email. Right? So you need to have a system in place where no one everyone you ever talk to never forgets who you are. This is the problem that we have. We talk to people, and then they don't want to do anything or whatever, and then we don't have anything in place to make sure they never forget us. Bro, think about the compounding of relationships over the years. The year you make $1 million will not come from the leads you got that year. See, we all think we're going to come up with this silver shiny penny lead gen thing that's going to create all these leads and make $1 million 1 year. No. You make the meal from all the people you met over the last 3 to 5 to 6 to 7 years that compounded into the year you made $1 million, plus, 10% of the deals that year will lead you got that year. That's how you get there, right? And there's light at the end of the tunnel. You're not going to prospect forever. Bro, we got to add some time to this thing, bro. Okay, I'm talking too much. I want to hear some questions.
So I heard a lot of your philosophy of cold outreach and talking to clients, and you have your email list, so you always keep up with them forever and ever until they die. Do you call them, and how much do you prospect to your current database? Because I imagine it's kind of large.
There's no right answer, and literally that means it could be 0.
So is that how it is? Business, you just email them? That's the only
I did.
touch point?
I'm not telling you to.
Oh, I'm not. I know.
But I'm just saying everything works.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just asking you.
Here's the philosophy behind it, right? Because I love this question. When I'm building my business, I can build my business in whatever capacity I wish. I can literally, it's by design. So if I want to build a business that produces passive leads, right? Passive, meaning I don't have to work for them at all. They're just flowing in. But then I start to build a business model around calling my database every quarter and sending them things and doing all this stuff, right? But the email is very scalable, easy. It's just simple. And the reason they're going to come back to you is because the service they gave you during the deal, the service you gave them during the deal. When they're like, I'll never use another agent after what just happened on that deal. That was too good, right? That's where you win them over. Right? And they'll call me when they're ready to buy or sell something. Some agents were like, why are you giving them all the closed sales data in your emails? Don't you want them to have a reason to call you? And I was like, yeah, I want the reason for them to call me to be because they want to buy or sell a piece of property, not because they want to know what something's sold for. See what I'm saying? I want to create an environment where I give them everything. I give them the best service ever. They're going to come back to me, and it's very passive. Listen, to make $100,000 in a month as an agent is far more easy than making $100,000 in a year. How do I know this? Because when I made $100,000 in a year as a real estate agent, I was working 50 hours a week. But when I was making $100,000 a month as an agent, I was working 20, 25 hours a week. Why? No prospecting anymore. It's all repeats and referrals, right? I saved my relationships up for a rainy day. I'm living off my relationships now. And so, love the question. And at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer, but I didn't do it at all because I wanted to build my business by design, and I wanted it to flow without me doing anything. And if the weekly email didn't win somebody over, great. They're not my people. You got a mic runner. No, over here. No. Oh, right here. She had her hand up and then you.
Question. Okay, what is the largest number of listings you carried at one time, and how did you deal with communicating with your sellers?
At one time, I had 72, and I think maybe 13 was the same guy at the time, so that made it easier than just 72 individuals, and then maybe a couple other that were like double. But so every other week on Friday, I would take half the day and research all the internal and external data of a listing. Internal meaning inside the listing, the showings, the feedback, the number of showings, etc. The external meaning the listings around the property. I would research that, study it, and maybe even call some of those agents that have listings that went under contract or whatever, and get a full picture in my mind, and I would call that seller every 2 weeks. That's how I handled it. It was look. So everybody has a threshold of how much they can handle. Some people have these people? They have 2 pending deals and 4 active listings, and their week is shot. I don't even know what they do for 40 hours, right? But everybody has a different threshold. I refer to it as your cup. Everybody has a different size cup. You got to figure out how big your cup is. How much can you handle at once? How many pendings and listings and actives can you handle at one time? If you don't know what that is, that means you need to get out there and overwhelm yourself. Agents are scared to overwhelm themselves with business because they don't feel like they're going to be able to give the service. No. Let's make that a good problem to have. Overwhelm yourself with business, find out where your threshold is, and then go right under that and then find your pace. Mine was 20 to 30 active listings and 10 to 20 pending deals. That was where I lived. I stayed there for years and years. That was just easy. Me and my assistant, it was just it was like a cakewalk. It was just nothing. It was just like breathing air. Once it got up to in the 40 range, it started to get a little shaky. I had 39 pending deals at one time at the highest point. And that was a little shaky. I was on my toes. I wasn't dying, but I didn't really want to stay there. 10 to 20, it's plenty of money, but find out where your threshold is. Yeah.
What was one of the maybe lessons that you learned with your first million versus your 5th million?
What's that?
What was one of the lessons that you learned? Maybe the biggest mistake you made when you made your first million?
Back when I lost it all?
Do what?
You talking about back when I lost it, went homeless and bankrupt? Or are you talking about later when I made that million?
No, later when you made your first million and then you did it for 5 years straight.
Yeah.
What was a lesson that you learned that first year versus that 5th year?
Well, by then I'd already made millions, just not all in the same year.
Okay,
right?
what's one of the best investments that you made?
Best investments?
Mm-hmm, with that first million versus that
I
5th
mean,
year?
I'm going to say something crazy, but $1 million is like paycheck. You're living paycheck to paycheck in today's world. You pay taxes, your expenses. You might have $100,000 or something to put down on a rental property or something, but you're not living. That's the thing. When I got to $1 million, that was the dream. I'm like, if I could just get there. And then you get there and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of work. January 1st came, I'm like, I got to do all that over again? To try to make that million? That was crazy, what I just did. And this wasn't when prices were where they are. 2017 was lower prices. And I'm in Alabama. It was tough. So I don't know. I can't really get a beat on exactly what you're asking, to be honest. You want to rephrase it? And then maybe stay out there so we can get somebody in the back, if you could, bud.
Your first year that you hit that goal.
Yeah.
Right? And you're like, man, this is awesome. I'm going to go.
It wasn't awesome.
I'm going to go buy but financially, right? You're making more money than you had in a long time.
I was buying rental properties at the time. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so maybe you bought.
I invested nothing in my business, like my real estate business.
Yeah. So
nothing, because I'm just calling people and doing emails.
So what made it easier that 5th year? Were you working less hours that 5th year?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So when I made the meal, okay, here's a pro tip for you guys. This is a writer-downer. You prospect until the year that you're making the amount of money you want to make. Then you can quit prospecting. And your database, see your referrals, past clients, referrals of referrals, like word of mouth, all that does is maintain your business. People have this thought, oh, they get going and get some momentum, and they get some referrals. Oh, I don't have to prospect anymore. All these referrals coming in, business is going to grow. No, your business will plateau wherever you stop prospecting. That's why you see agents that make $200,000 forever, and they can't figure it out. I can tell you why. They quit prospecting once they prospected up to 200 and then quit, thinking it was going to keep going. No, you got to keep prospecting until you hit that goal year like I did. I prospected all the way to $1 million. Then I quit prospecting, and now I have all that prospecting time back. See, I don't have my prospecting, but that was like, people are doing 30 deals a year. They hear 100 deals a year, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, right? Because it's like 3 times the work. No, it's different kind of work, because you're really shaking the bushes to try to get that 30. But when you get to the 100, it's not so grindish, because you've got all this repeats and referrals coming in. Your life's a lot better. See, people hear me like that have teams like, oh, I can't do it as a single agent. I can't believe he did 100 deals a year for 8 years in a row. I mean, you are crazy. You're wife. You've been working like 100 hours a week. I'm like, no, I was working like 20, 25 hours a week. And part of it was because of the way that I built my business by design, right? Instead of, let's just say, chasing buyers, right? How many of you guys would want an 80-20 business, 80% being listings, 20% being buyers? Right? An 80-20 business. Just about everyone. I'll tell you the secret to that. If you focus 100, not 99, not 90, 95, 92, 80, 100% of your prospecting efforts and marketing efforts towards listing activities, okay? 100 of your efforts on listing activities, okay? 20% of your business will be buyers, right? Sellers that sold and then bought, referrals from wherever, people that want to buy your listings, whatever, right? Buyers are just going to come to you. You're an agent. If you do anything to try to attract buyers, it's going to throw that ratio off, which is fine. I'm not saying anything's bad about it. I'm just telling you what it is. You're going to be at like a 60-40, a 50-50, even have more buyers than sellers. And I know a lot of agents that are in that boat. And I look at them like, you are not living the life I would want to live if I were you. That's not how I want to build my business, right? I want to chill. I want to make some money and chill. I want to help a lot of people. I want to make some money, and I want to be able to sleep at night with no stress. I know it's flashing, man, but give me at least 1 or 2 more questions, right? Just pick somebody, man. Now we got.
Hey, Ricky.
Yo.
So, after talking to you, I know you're super busy.
You're scary, man.
Super busy, working. What's your best time management advice for realtors that are grinding?
There's probably 20, 30, 40, 50% of what they're doing that they could just ignore and quit doing, that they think matters. If there was an agent that had a problem with time management, just tell me some things that you're doing. I could tell you, like, don't do that, and here's why. Because in their mind, they're like, oh, I'll say, don't do that. Just quit doing that altogether. And you can see in their eyes, they're like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe you said that, right? So, like, we make up things in our mind that we create this lie that we tell ourselves that this thing is really important when it's not. It's actually hurting us, right? There's a book. I'll give you guys a book. It's 10X is Easier Than 2X by Benjamin Hardy. You want to talk about some time management and leveling up. The first thing you do when you get frustrated is you look at your situation and you say, instead of being frustrated because you're not where you feel like you should be, you look at your situation and you say, look at where I am and how far I've come from where I was. And you appreciate where you are. That's step one. Then you identify where that 80% is that's only producing 20% of your results and get rid of it. Got time for one more. Where is our Mike Runner? That guy, he's on a treadmill somewhere. All right.
Hey, Ricky.
We haven't got anybody's names here. Can you say your name and where you're from?
My name's Dirk Stone. I'm from Grand Haven, Michigan, a little resort community.
Nice to meet you.
A lot of people in our area have vacation to your area, so it's been a good good one to see happen there. So just wanted to ask you in regards, drilling down on your email strategy, do you have special hooks that you do? What does the content look like? Are you doing video in these emails?
I'm glad you asked that. Too much to get into. I'll give you the best advice on it. Most agents are sending out cold information, houses, whatever, right? Automated drips, reports, stuff like that, with zero context of their personality in the content. And they look, and the client looks at it, and the agent just commoditized themselves with all the other agents that are sending cold data. So this is what you do. You take the data, and you say, here's the data, and here's what I think about it. Give them some market insight data that only you can say. I showed 3 buyers this week. One wrote an offer. It didn't work out. We're still looking for them for something, but the market's busy. Let me know if you need anything. They can't get that off Zillow, and you can't automate that, right? But hold on. Oh man, that was perfect timing. But like restaurant of the month, deal of the month, news of the month, stats of the month for analytical people, One more. Let's go back. Let's go far back, man. There's like a wave back there. Oh, Lord. Like, he got a good question, I guess. Who is this? Who?
Ricky, what's
who are you? Who are you? Where are you from?
My name's Orlando Garcia, out of Downey, LA area. So,
give it up for him.
Yeah, thank you. In all the years you've been doing this, what's your most memorable aha moment that just changed your career?
For which career?
Your real estate salesperson career.
I will tell you the biggest aha, and it was when I lost everything back in 2005. I didn't sell a property from 2005 to 2008. I was sleeping in my car. I was roofing houses, serving tables at night. I was working on an oil rig. And I read a book, Shift by Gary Keller. And, oh, boo. No, just kidding. Give it up for Gary Keller. Give it up for Gary Keller. The book is amazing, actually. You should read it. Don't necessarily agree with strategies of building the business, but the rhetoric around the market, oh, Lord, it helped me tremendously put this into perspective because guess what? I was living it. So what I realized in that moment was it hit me like a ton of bricks, light bulb moment. Closings happen every single day. We're in the midst of 2008. 2007 was the worst year for us down the coast. And I started thinking about it, and I was like, wait a minute, closings are happening every single day in the worst possible financial economic situation that could exist. And it made me realize, wait a minute, if that's true, closings are going to happen every single day for the rest of my life in my market by the truckloads, more than I could ever handle, regardless of market conditions. So that was my biggest aha, where when you take the market out of the equation, where you realize that the market can't take you out, you start to feel a little bit invincible, a little bit of pressure comes off your shoulders, and you're able to actually relax and focus on your business. You feel me, guys? Give it up for me. Thank you.
Hey, you made it to the end. I appreciate you watching this keynote speech from Vegas at BAM Mania. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. I'm going to put another video right here. If you just want to keep the learning going, you want that learning train to just continue, let me know if there's anything in the world I can do for you. I answer every single message on Instagram myself. We'll see you soon.